Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus giving you another ebook that we're going to break down. It's going to be the other Super Bowl team, which is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. There's actually a lot of formations I have already broken down in this game that you can actually access on my Patreon, and just if you scroll through some of the YouTube stuff that I've posted already. So we're not going to do Deuce Close, but that's something we can access. Wing is a very a common formation that you can pretty much find in every playbook that I've got a little mini scheme on that. Wing flex close, recently broke that down. Wing slot, the tight Y off is similar to Deuce Close. And then just recently with the LA Rams, I did a double south scheme, and then basically broke down doubles too. So that's in that. Recently broke down a formation in the Vikings, which was using the I form close, and then pistol is always unique. But we're going to be looking in the first half of this ebook at 4 formations that we can access, and it's going to be leveraging basically having 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. So this is going to be a very run-orientated scheme that's going to allow you to run the ball and throw the ball effectively too. Now the main formation we're going to come out of the huddle is going to be the wing slot offset. A lot of great plays in here, and it gives you the option to use power O's and inside zones to have the running the ball effectively. And then we're going to quickly audible into basically the Deuce Close. This has got some really cool stuff in it too. But we're going to be able to access Singleback. We're going to access Singleback Ace and then Singleback Ace Close to close out this first half, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some stuff in the gun formation, maybe 2 or 3 more formations. I'm looking at this tight Y off weak, and tight Y off is 2 of the formations I'm going to look at. So let's just go ahead and start off with the Twins formation, and the Twins formation we're going to take a look at is going to be this formation, which is going to be the wing slot offset. And here are our audibles. We've got Ohio spacing. We're going to leave that in. You got a nice little Ohio concept off to the left. You got spacing off to the right, and we can turbocharge that. Inside zone, great to have. 4 verticals is going to be the one play we're going to pull out, and then we have the play action double post. I'm going to pull out 4 verticals, but if you wanted to run the 4 verticals of it, we can. But I'm probably going to pull it out for a play like this, which is going to be mesh spot, just because it's got some nice stuff. But let's just go ahead and show you how you could do the 4 verticals version of it in this scheme. Deuce Close, you have stick. We're going to leave that in. Inside zone split, we have the bench swap, and then the RPO read stick. We're going to swap out this zone split with the better play, which is going to be the 0-1 trap. And then this RPO read stick, I don't really care for this play too much. We're going to swap that out with basically this mesh spot as a play. And then let's take a look at the other formation we're going to look at is Ace. Ace has got quick slants, halfback dive, skinny posts, and then play action dig. I'm going to go ahead and remove this particular play, which is going to be the play action post dig. I find the more effective play of this version is going to essentially be this one right here, which is going to be the play action flood. It allows me to attack my opponent on the inside. And then quick slants, I'm going to go ahead and remove that with a nice little outside run, which is going to be the stretch, and then I'm going to have an inside run to go ahead and complement that. Ace Close, we're going to leave as is. For the most part, we're going to leave this Y seam. This is a really great play. Then we have play action cross, which will be able to go over the top, and then we have halfback zone weak, but the stick we're going to go ahead and take out for bench. So those are our audibles for this. Going to be basically 4 formations going to look at. I'm going to come out of the huddle in this particular play, and I'm going to look at basically the power O is our base play, and then we'll make our adjustments from there. Most people do play a lot of nickel, but for the sake of this breakdown, we're just going to assume that we're going to be using 43 defenses because you're going to be running the ball effectively. All right, so let's just take a look at the running game. First and foremost, you got a nice little power O that you can use. Unfortunately, you really can't. You can't really kind of give a tell. And then obviously, if he really puts a lot of defenders off the left, you've got the inside zone, where you basically go ahead and run that off to the left. So you got a running scheme from right to left that you can use against your opponent with that power O, which is going to get you some pretty good blocking. You can run off that right tackle, and then you have the inside zone off the left tackle. So that's what's cool about this, is that you got yourself a nice running scheme, and when you get a little bit closer to the end zone, you can hit your opponent. Now let's go ahead and take a look at 4 verticals. And this is kind of going to build the entire scheme up. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my running back and put him on basically a wheel route, and the backside receiver I'm going to put on a drag route. And the reason we want to do that is we want to have a check down going over the middle of the field. We're going to slide this guy out and watch the read and make our progressions from there. So I didn't get the defense I wanted initially on this, but this is something that you can do. Is when you motion this guy out, sometimes what happens if it's not man coverage, this guy will fall back. He'll fall back, giving you a passing lane that you can throw just right over the side and pick up an easy 5 yards. And then you have a nice little complement route, which was going to be a wheel route on the backside. And then we have the crosser underneath, which is going to be the drag that we're going to hit if our opponent basically has man coverages. So we're going to go ahead and drag up Chase, and we're going to motion this guy out, and see how he basically just kind of goes to the outside, and the defender doesn't play it, and I can actually get a nice fast pass lead against my opponent. So this is going to force him to put some type of a cloud flat over here, or press his guys, or put a man coverage. But see how the guys don't react. You've got a seam route right here with this guy. So if there's a hard flat with this defender coming out there, that seam will be wide open. And also you've got this little route with the running back underneath it. So that's my progressions. I'm trying to make this very simple. This looks like it's going to be some type of a cover 2 or a man blitz based on the defense. So we're going to motion this guy over, motion him over, and here's where you have basically the running back. As you can see, even though he didn't catch the ball, you could see how that actually was available to you. So I'm just going to show this in instant replay. Right here, we got a cloud flat. The guy comes out to the cloud. This guy clears. I could have thrown this route if I wanted to, but I'm going to go with the high percentage route. I'm going to look to the running back. You get a completion. You can see right there, if he would have held on to the ball, that would have been a 10-yard completion just from a real fast release. So 2 quick adjustments, and you're going to motion this guy out, and then basically you just check down from there. So you're going to hit your opponent off the left. You're going to hit you got your routes like so. Now, what you want to do is you want to show your opponent the same type of look when you're running the ball. So when you do run a play, just motion your guy out. He's going to expect it's some type of a pass, and then you've got this running game that you can throw into it too. So that's what's cool about having that type of a look and that motion look against your opponent. It's just going to throw off his reads, because he might be expecting you to run, and now you're actually, you're basically running the ball opposed to passing it. So those 2 plays with the runs and basically the motion snap with verticals, it all plays hand in hand. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Ohio concept that we've got going off the left in levels. We can run this stock, and then you've got basically this Ohio concept that you can hit. It's just a quick out. Well, I find inside hashes, out routes are just a little bit more effective in this game. What you could do is the following. You could do a flat and then basically a curl route off the back side, and basically this gives you the flat curl concept that I've been using a lot in my breakdowns and my gameplay too. Is just another way that you can attack your opponent. Or what you could do is you could do a deep comeback route. It takes a little bit longer for that route to develop. But you could see how he did have positioning. The only problem with it, once again, is that you're not getting rid of the ball that quick. Here we go. We've got basically a one-on-one. So with this particular play, we can go ahead and just leave it as is, and then motion our guy out. But I want you to watch the one-on-one off of Chase and see if he gets the one-on-one. He actually had over-the-top coverage, but I'll just show you what I'm looking at when I'm seeing one-on-one press coverage against one of my better wide receivers. I'm watching this guy right here. Safety most likely is not going to roll just because he's single high safety. These guys are down in the box. I'm watching this guy, and if this defender floats up and it just keeps going up, I'm not going to take a shot up top. So I'm going to make my next progression, which is going to be this out. And you can see this is wide open where I could get an easy completion. And my next read is going to be right over the middle of the field over here. So it's just single side of the field, and that's how I make my reads and my progressions with it and how I get rid of the ball. So this looks like this could potentially be cover 2. So one of the things you could do is you could do basically a flat route off the left and just make your progressions from there. So basically I looked off to the left and I'm just going to go from left to right with my progressions with this play. So here we go. We're going to assume that we might get man-to-man coverage. No, I just threw that into the wrong place. So that was a wrong read right there. I could have thrown into a line. This is what I misread. I was expecting this guy to come down and bites, but look what happens. He stops and then comes right back up to this guy. And what does this guy do? He actually trades off and bites down to the flat. So a very unusual look to defense. That could have been an interception if this guy would have made a play of the ball, but I was able to squeeze it in. That should have been picked off, so that wasn't a good play. A good read by me. So we're going to go ahead and run this again. So here you go. And here's your flat corner concept that you can use against your opponent. You got pretty much the same concept over here off to the right. And we can go ahead and motion this guy out. Man coverage, you're going to be able to get that ball out there, or you're just going to go ahead and hit the flat. Flat's a little bit more consistent, but we can leave these guys as is. And a lot of times what happens, the running back route will pull the other defender out so you can hit that. So this is nice to have these little stop and goes right here that you can use against your opponent. Now the last plays we're going to look at is going to be the play action post shot. My preference is to do this route right here and do an out route with these guys. Out route is going to get pretty much crazy coverage against man coverage. So that's something you can do. But what we want to have with this here play is, some type of, a similar type of attack. So we're going to go ahead and look to this. We're going to put a running back underneath, and we're going to motion this guy out and have him deep comeback route. And we're going to basically look to levels concept going off the left. Start with the running back route. With that route off the left, it's going to be your fast read. And what's cool about this here play is that you've got this post route by Higgins and by Chase that can give you, a big play opportunity for some big yardages. And sometimes, obviously, you can turn that into a one-play touchdown depending on your player. So that big post is over the top. You motion the guy over, and you've got your action going off to the right side. So. And what's cool about this here play is that you've got this post route by Higgins and by Chase that can give you, a big play opportunity for some big yardages. And sometimes, obviously, you can turn that into a one-play touchdown depending on your player. So that big post is over the top. You motion the guy over, and you've got your action going off to the right side. So. Going to motion this guy over, and just that little stick route is it's preoccupying our guy, but it's going to give you an opportunity to go and get a big play. So even though that defender actually peeled up and actually played that ball, I was able to go and get my guy out there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next play. All right, so the next formation we're going to look at is going to be the Deuce Close. And what's cool about Deuce Close is that you can quickly audible into this from the wing slot offset. So you'll be able to have access to these plays. And once again, we swapped out the split zone for the 0-1 trap. We have the bench swap, and then we have the mesh spot is the other play that we swapped out. So 0-1 trap and mesh spot we swapped out. I'm probably never going to really come out of the huddle with this particular play, but if I was, I might throw a RPO in case someone's using some type of run pass commit against me, and we're just going to once again run this against random 43 defenses. So what's cool about this particular play is that you can motion this guy over, and he doesn't go to the other side. He actually plays like a fullback. So that just kind of gives your opponent kind of a different look a little bit than they're used to seeing. 0-1 trap, one of the better plays in the game, and all you do is just wait for your guys to get to the next level, take on those linebackers, and just run on the inside of the trap of the pulling guard. And that usually will open it up. So as long as your guard doesn't get blasted, you got that L1 trap. So that's why I like having that in my back pocket. Now let's take a look at stick. This is how I like to run stick. When I run stick, I'm going to do a curl on the left side, and I'm going to go ahead and take my running back and put him on basically a wheel route. And really what I'm looking for is I'm looking for man coverages, but I'm making my progressions from left to right with the stick concept. So there's a lot of, you're seeing a lot of the same type of stuff, but let's just take a look at this. So what I'm looking for is this guy's clearing out. I'm not looking to throw this. I probably could have thrown this because these guys pulled up and the flat was available, but I'm going to look to this route right here, and I'm going to try to throw this. But now I see this guy is taken out. My next progression is this route right here. He's stuck. The wheel route is pulling this defender over the top, so his guy carries. I probably could have thrown him off the sideline, but I've already had the ball off, and I'm just going to hit the little stick and turn it up to a 10-yard gainer. So that's how I run stick. So we're going to go ahead and set this up like this. Now against man coverage, I'm going to try to pop that route real quick and get rid of that ball right away. So if I see him wide open, I'm going to throw that route immediately, just because that's my first progression, it's my first read. A lot of times against man coverage, he'll be available for an easy completion. You can low ball that, just make sure the defender doesn't go over the top of you. So what's great about this play is that you got really fast and easy progressions and reads. And you can get, easy completion. So let's go ahead and move on to the next play that we're going to be looking at is going to be the bench swap. And I'm going to run it basically like so. I'm going to streak this guy up. I'm going to drag up my backside tight end. And I've got basically the bench concept. I could throw the corner, but I want to wait for my read. This is one of the things I've been discovering as I've been really labbing these corner routes that I've been struggling with for the first half of the year. But one of the things I'm discovering while I'm labbing is that you want to throw the ball not on his break. You want to wait for him to get to the numbers. Once he gets to the numbers is when you throw the sideline. A lot of times what it does is it dumbs out the defenders, and then you can throw that ball and just try to go ahead and get an animation at the sideline. So wait until the guy gets to the numbers. Once he gets to the numbers, once he breaks the numbers, let's take a look right here. You can see how I'm right here. I'm throwing the ball as he breaks the numbers, and that I'm going to get the separation that I want. So we're going to set this up once again. Got the drag concept, so you can check it down. So if he plays over the top, you can hit the drag. And what's cool about this play is that you pretty much have the similar concept off to the rights. So if you wanted to, you could streak up the tight end. You get the table with the running back that you can hit off to the right side. And then obviously you've got your corner out on the other side. So this is going to allow you to go ahead and attack your opponent on basically the sidelines. Let's see if we can hit Higgins right here. We're able to go ahead and hit him right over his defender and actually get a sideline pass. So now you're attacking the inside. Now you're attacking the outside. This just makes this play really great. Mesh posts. I'm not really going to jump into this too much. I probably would maybe set this up where I'm going to do a streak route and just look for the crossers on the backside. Probably not a play I'm not going to use that much with this particular play. And if I really didn't like it too much, I basically go ahead and probably just leave in that play. The RPO is one of my play options with this. But yeah, it's really just looking for the drags. And then obviously you got the guy right in the middle that you can hit against in the middle. So this is just another way to go and attack your opponent in just very unique spots again. So not really going to look to this too much. One of the fast reads right here is this running back route. You might be able to get yourself a nice little completion. So in other words, like a 1st and 1 type of situation or something like that you want to go ahead and get a quick completion. You could throw that so before the defenders respond, and it maybe bounce up for a few additional yards. So let's go and jump into the next formation. All right, so the next formation we're going to look at is going to be the Singleback Ace. It's a formation I've been using a lot online with really good success. I've been using Ace for the longest time ever. Our audibles we're going to switch out. We're going to use the Stretch Alert X Smoke. This gives us a chance to run the ball to the outside. We got a halfback dive. Skinny Post is a very good play. This is a money play that I usually jump into right away. And then you have the Play Action Flood, which will help you attack your opponent on the inside too. So what we're going to do is, out of the huddle, we're going to usually audible over this, but let's just go ahead and audible into the stretch and go from there. Now what I love about this particular play is I can flip it to either side with the stretch and just attack my opponent to the outside and just force him to defend the outside. So if he starts putting his guys on the outside, what I can do is I can go ahead and just hit him with an inside run with a dive, and that allows me to get myself some cheesy yards up the middle and off of the stretch play. So that's one of the reasons why I do like this. You know, you're going to basically hit your opponent on the edges, and you've got basically that dive play that you can throw in that's going to catch him off guard. And you could throw that, you run that ball right up the middle. But I'm not gonna spam running plays for you just for the sake of that. Let's take a look at the audibles. Skinny post. Basically, this is how I'm going to run the play. I'm going to go ahead and wheel up my running back, and then the backside receivers with the flat and post concept. I don't want these guys crossing over each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that guy on a hitch route or a deep comeback route, depending on the yardages and stuff like that. I'm going to look for man coverages and then kind of make my progressions from there. But usually this route with the running the wide receivers on the outside are extremely deadly. Now, if it's man coverages, you've got basically this curl flat concept that you can hit. So that makes things a little bit more exciting. But let's just go ahead and, for the sake of this might be cover 2. Okay, it is cover 2. This is where you're going to basically hit that running back route underneath, and then you have basically that post route that's going over the top of it. So let's just go and take a look at this. I'm going to watch this guy real quick, and he's going to give me an idea on what the shell is. If the guy's doing he's not doing a lot of hybrid stuff. See how the guy flips out? So that's cover 2. For the most part, this guy comes out in cover 2. I could have hit the flat, but I'm going to make my next progression over here. And the way these routes play, this should get cleared out, but look at this route right over the top. This was basically wide open. These guys actually came down and bit, and I could hit that route right over the top and get a nice big completion. So that's why we have this set up like so. So we're going to set this up once again. And this inside release with this route is just really, really deadly, and it's going to get you some pretty monster yards for it. So we're going to set this up once again. And because I don't have that other post coming over, it's opening up the field for me. So I have a bigger area to hit against my opponent with the post. Now, I could basically run this concept off the opposite side if I wanted to. So that's, that could be something you can do to go ahead and just keep things interesting by running it to the opposite side with that route. So, I always want to go with the curl comeback route or the curl route and flat on the opposite side of where the wheel's at, because the wheel essentially is gonna open up for me, and then I'm gonna look to that post over the top. Let's go back to the other play and kind of close this formation out. Here's another play that we're going to look at, the play action flood. And this is how I like to run this particular play. I like to streak up the backside or tight end and put the other guy right here on an in route. Now, I don't leave the play action. I just find that I just don't get the kind of play action I want. I want to get tight in the animation. So I'm going to do a wing route. Now, my first read is going to be sample to see if I get man coverage. And if I do, his route always gets good separation against man coverage. And it's going to be something different from what your opponent is used to seeing. Now, what I love about this is I can flip this to the other side, set it up once again like this, and I've got basically a trailer that's underneath the coverages that will allow me to go and attack my opponent on the other side. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this really quick. I'm watching this guy right here. I'm waiting to see what happens with the coverages and see how this guy kind of falls into his zone. He's going to be in my passing lane. He could pick that off. I've obviously got this route right here. He's clearing things out for me, so he's pulling defenders up. So I know that this route is going to be dead to me, but I've got this trailer underneath that I can go ahead and hit and catch that and turn it up, because it's going to stretch out the defense. So we're going to flip it, do a little wing route, and against man coverages, this is where you're going to get some really big yards with those inside tight ends. So I love this play. This is a play that I jump into a lot in conjunction with skinny posts, and obviously running the ball with the stretch and with the dive, it's really hard to stop. So let's go ahead and jump to the last play, which is going to be singleback ace. All right, singleback ace close. All right, so the last formation we're going to jump into is going to be the singleback ace close. Once again, we've got a bench concept. We've got halfback zone, which is going to give us a nice little inside zone. And then we have the Y seam and play action cross. These are good complement plays. The Y seam is going to be the one that could be, you know, if you really master this play, it could be very effective and extremely hard to stop, but you can misread it if you're not paying attention correctly. So bench is still the same concept as previously. All we're going to do is we're going to block all and choose where we're going to go. You want to throw that ball for the one route, which essentially is going to be that one tight end route. So let's just go back to that. What I like about this too is that basically you've got this concept that you can use where it's basically high-low sail concept, and if the defenders go up high, you can essentially you can hit it, and you can go either way with it too. So you can go. Your opponent's never going to be able to figure out, you know, how to stop either one of these two routes. So you just wait for it to get to the outside of the numbers, and that's when you actually throw the ball and try to hit it on the sideline. All right, let's take a look at Y seam. You can flip the play either way. Not going to give your opponent any kind of tell. You're going to look to the seam route first, and then look to the mesh concept underneath, and then go from there. So the seam, and then you've got this really glitchy kind of like stop route that comes back that you can hit. So if your guy holds on to it, that's great, but we're going to watch a seam first, see if that's available. Looks like it is. You hit that and just get a nice little completion. And then look to the mesh concept, and then you have the little hitch off the backside. So love this shooter play. It's just really easy to run. So, and here you go. Little dragger underneath. We're going to hit that and get a nice big completion. Back to the seam route. And you want to, obviously, that's where you can get picked off. Against cover 2, the coverages will actually go ahead and fall into that. And that's where as I throw this into my scheme, I'll find that if I don't make my reads correctly, see how these guys bite down? And because I didn't get rid of the ball quick enough, this guy's able to fall back into the zone and pick it up and actually get into this passing lane and actually throw it. So you want to try to throw that probably a little bit earlier than that. So you want to look to that seam, but if you don't, just hit the dragger if you get the man read and just kind of go from there. So this is a play you want to get in the lab and just play around with, but it's a quick snap play and allows you to attack your opponent in the seam and allows you to just get in just really unique areas, and you've got those draggers. So now he's going to have to float up his zones, and you've got basically the ability to hit him with bench over the top. Now let's go ahead and take a look at like one of these primary money plays. This is how I like to run this particular play. You got your crosser. I like to go ahead and the opposite side of the crosser, I put a wheel and flat concept against any type of zone coverages. This just gives me an underneath route that it forces my opponent to compensate for. But you've got your crosser that, you know, top Madden players live and die off of. It gets past the coverages that you can hit. So we're going to set this up. Let's see if we can hit the crosser. No, but we're just going to go check it down in that running back route if that's wide open. Let's set this up again. And here's your crosser that you can get some big yards against your opponent against. And if we get it, you can get that one play touchdown right over the top of the coverages against your opponent if they're not paying attention. So I like to work the check downs first and work over the top. I want to force my opponent to keep coming down in the line of scrimmage so I can expose them over the top. That's just my preference. So here are 4 different formations you can easily access with this scheme. You know, you've got basically this doubles play that you can access into. You got the running plays you can access into. You can go ahead and you know, go into this quick 0-1 trap. So it's going to give you a lot of the same plays, but just kind of a different formation look, and also provide you a lot of good running plays too. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the shotgun formations that are going to be more of a 3-wide receiver set now. All right, so guys, in this Bengals playbook, we're going to take a look at 2 different formations, and we're going to work off of each other. Now, what's cool about this is that these two formations we can essentially access really quick with a quick audible. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it. We're going to be looking at basically this formation, which is going to be the tight white off, and the other formation we'll look at is going to be the doubles Y off. There is going to be a little redundancy in these plays, but it's just such a great play. I'm not afraid to have some redundancy with that. So let's take a look at our audibles. These are basically the plays out of the tight Y off, and our audibles is the wheel spot, inside zone, the flood drive, and then the play action go slot cross. Play action go slot cross is the money play in this particular play because it's going to give you big opportunities to pick up 30, 40 yards on the field. I found that the wheel spot is actually kind of cool. It gives you a nice little shot right up the seam. So we're going to go ahead and pull out this particular play, which is going to be the flood drive, and we're going to swap that out with this play, which is going to be the switch wide receiver drag. The reason I'm putting this play in opposed to other plays is it allows me to attack my opponent off to the left. That kind of gives me a little bit more balance. Now the other audibles we're going to take a look at is going to be the Y off, and this is a doubles formation. I run a lot of doubles, basically slants. We're going to pull that out, and I want to have myself a nice little halfback angle. So we're just going to go ahead and put the Texas verticals right here. This allows us to hit our opponent off to the left and off to the right and in the middle. Inside zone, because we do have the option of basically having an 0-1 trap in this formation, we're going to go and throw that in just to mix things up. 4 verticals, pretty generic, so we're going to swap that out, and the play we're going to build off of is going to be this double dig. This is going to allow to give us a corner route off the left-hand side and building off of that, and then we're going to leave, once again, this play action go slot cross, same as the previous play. Now, out of the huddle, I'm probably going to go ahead and call the tight Y off, and then I'm going to call the play, which is going to be red zone scissors. There's another play in here, which is a flood drive, which I pulled out as an audible. I prefer the red zone scissors just because of that unique running back route that gets real good depth. I'm going to run against random nickels and just kind of go from there. Let's just go take a look at 2 running plays. Inside zone, pretty straight up. Basically go ahead and look for your hole and hit that. And then conversely, you can go into the other running play, which essentially is going to be the 0-1 trap. And you're just going to motion these, or you're going to put these guys out real quick and then go ahead and hit your 0-1 trap. So 2 basically inside zone runs that you can look at if you get a light box or a first down situation, you want to go from there. So we have basically a couple different plays we're going to break down. We have the wheel spot, the switch wide receiver drag, and the play action go slot. And we also have a similar play, which is going to be the play action go slot cross, which is going to be out of the gun double. So I'm going to break that down for both plays for you. I'm going to leave it in just because it's such an effective play. Now, I've labbed a lot of this with this one particular play, which is the wheel spot, and I actually discovered that the best adjustment is just to streak up your tight end and make progressions from there. If you get a heavy man blitz, go ahead and hit the spot route off to the left or off to the right. And what happens is if you have basically like some type of a zone or man coverage, a lot of times what's going to happen is that seam route might open up for you. So I misread that, but let's just go ahead and throw this correctly. So we're going to go and look for the seam. And over the seam, right over the middle of the field, you can hit with the tight end. So this is going to be a quick snap play that you can jump into just to catch your opponent off guard. And we're going to streak this guy up. And if the guy just carries, you can see he actually got caught right there off the wide receiver. So let's just go ahead and do this once again. Man coverage, look to the little spot route. That's going to be the area that you want to go. So we're going to streak up the tight end. And if we anticipate man coverages, you can always hit the spots. Now you could build off of this concept by going ahead and doing something like this, where essentially what you can do is you could streak up your tight end. You've got those two wheel routes, and then you have 2 little flat routes. And that actually might open up things for you against any kind of heavy man blitzes and stuff like that and hit those seams. So if you got a guy running a lot of like Mabel coverages, you can attack the seams with that. Another thing you could do too is to basically go ahead and do little hitch routes and that actually will not put guys into user territory and open things up a little bit for you. Another thing that's kind of cool with this particular play too, the way it's set up, you can always just go ahead and basically do the following adjustments. You could just do quick outs, and essentially that will open up a lot of these routes right there. So you can see the ball was overthrown. I misused that guy right there. Another adjustment, you can do outs or do whip routes, and basically go ahead and streak up that tight end. And this basically gives you just another way to attack your opponent on the outside, but you've also got those clear out routes that are happening against your guys. So that's what I like about this year play, is that it just those two unique seam routes just makes it very difficult to stop, and you can attack the outside, the inside, and you can go ahead and mix and match with these type of concepts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the switch wide receiver drag. Now you can obviously run this play stock. My first read is going to be the red route, which is going to be Higgins, and then I'll make my progressions from there. The reason I'm looking at Higgins is sometimes that'll open up as a fast seam route that you could pick up a good 20 yards. So I find that is a really good play to go and look at, a little route that you can look at, and then you're just going to go ahead and make your man progressions from there. So this has got a nice little complement underneath that route. Now, if you want to go ahead and focus your attack off to the left, instead of having to drag, you can put a flat out there, and that essentially is going to give you a corner on the left side that you can hit against your opponent. So that's what's good about that particular play. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and beef it up a little bit more, you could streak up a guy. That'll actually clear out the zone for you and actually put an out route with the one running back right there, so you can check it down. But here's what I missed as far as my read. The fast read, and I'm probably not going to get the animation I'm looking for, but you want to watch Higgins, and a lot of times he'll get really, really crazy separation where you can actually go ahead and get that for a one big play touchdown. So that's something you want to take in consideration. But this allows you to attack your opponent off to the left side, and you've got your fast little hitter in the seam that you can come down with. So that's what I like about this play. So even though I'm not coming down with the ball right now, I want to just show you on how that route right here, there you go. So that route right there can get you a big play. Good, if you rack it, you can actually get some really good yards with it. And you've also got basically the levels. You have a sales concept going off to the left, which you can actually go and hit and stuff like that. And you got just a wheel route concept off to the right. So this really stretches the ball outside and gives you those opportunities right over the middle of the field. So you can see right here, you see how that guy actually comes down and bites. You've got that corner route off to the side. Now, here's the last play we're going to take a look at, and this is the money play right here. This is very difficult to stop. We're going to block all. We're going to go ahead and take our outside receiver Chase and put him on a drag route, and we're going to double team our guys. You guys know what this is. It's basically the typical, play action rollout play, but this route gets crazy depth. It gets up 40 yards up the field. So even it gets past a lot of zone drops too. So I'm going to show you. All right, so we're on the 40 right now. 10, 20, 30. So that's where a zone drop would be. And look where he catches the ball, right about 35 yards out. So if this guy has his zone drops at 20, 15 or something like that, this is going to get over the coverages, and this guy's going to push the area out for you, making it for a big completion right over the middle, over the field. So that's what makes this play special, is this route, and we're going to have two variations of it that we can jump into. Now, obviously, I do the drag route, so it gives me kind of a check down to force my opponent to defend. So that's something you want to do. If you want to give yourself a little bit more depth, what you could do is the following. You could do a little hitch route and drag, and that way you've got basically the running back that you can go ahead and look to on the back side if he doesn't get double teamed. So that's something you can throw into the little scheme too. So that's what I like about it. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next formation, which is going to be this gun doubles off. All right, so basically if you're going to run this play, you got your trap, but we have Texas verticals, the play action double dig, and we also have the play action slot cross. We're going to go ahead and show you the slot cross once again, just so you can kind of see how it works. Pretty much the same type of situation, just the crossing route is just going to get across the field a little bit better, so you still have the same thing that you can hit against your opponent. What you can do with this play action go across is streak up this guy and put a slant on the backside with Higgins. And that actually gives you the ability to go ahead and hit your opponent with a backside slant route. So not a very good animation right there. I don't know why this guy bounced back. So another adjustment that you can do is you can do a deep comeback route, and you still got your one defender, one wide receiver going out on that basically on that route, but that also gives you kind of a man check down off to the left just to keep your opponent guessing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at 4 verticals. 4 verticals, this is basically how I'd run it. I'm going to curl flat combo off to the left. It's going to give me a fast progression. And I've also got a man and zone beater off to the right. Zone beater is gonna open up with the running back. I'm going to go ahead and pop that really quick. But off to the other side, I've got basically a curl flat concept. And basically I'm going to hit that if I get some type of matching principle and stuff like that with the curl flat concept. So curl flat is something that I've been using a lot in my gameplay when I'm playing online, just because it makes it's really hard to stop that, and you can get easy 10 yards and stuff like that against your opponent. Now another adjustment I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and do a deep comeback route. And essentially that's going to kind of give me a read if I'm going to go ahead and hit that deep comeback route for some additional yards. So if I read basically a man matching principle or just a deep zone, I'm going to go to this deep comeback route and get easy yards with that kind of adjustment too. So those are adjustments that I do off to the left. Off to the right, really it's just kind of establishing basically this out route by the tight end. He's going to give me a very fast and easy read whether I want to go and hit the guy underneath, which is a running back, or basically go and hit the out. So if it's man coverage, I'm going to hit the out. He's always going to get really good leverage, and this guy's going to get me a good 7 or 8 yards. So that kind of a route is kind of a chain mover type route. So it's always going to be available to me, and obviously I can rack that. I can pick up another 5 or 6 yards, get a 15-yard gainer off of a fast little snap play. So here's your setup right here, and if the defender floats out to the out, you just check it down underneath to the running back. So it's just very fast and easy reads. I like to have that in my back pocket. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the double dig. Basically with the double dig, I'm going to streak up my wide receiver. I've got a corner out by my inside slot, and I want to wait for that inside slot to hit the numbers, and that's when I actually want to throw to the outside. So there's a couple ways I can run this double dig. I can streak up my guy. I can put him on a smoke route. But I think probably for the most part I want to streak up this guy and clear out that top zone. Now the other adjustment is I'm going to put a wheel route with my running back on the back side. Because against zone coverages, that's going to be available for me, and I should get some pretty good blocking as my wide receivers pull this guy in. So it's a nice little play to have in your scheme. If I streak up, that's going to basically clear out the zones for me. And if the defenders float over to play the sidelines, then I'm just going to look at my next progression right over the middle of the field. So the way this play works, this guy, you got your block and release, but I like to put a wheel route out here because against zone coverages, these guys are going to clear out the zones. But my first progression is going to be right here to see what happens with the defender, and watch this guy. So see how this guy actually plays that sideline? I'm just going to look to this guy against man coverages. He's going to get across the field. I can hit him. And then I've got this guy curving back in at a higher level at about 17 yards depth, 20 yards depth down the field. So this is pretty much my preference. Man coverages. This guy's going to get nice and flat with his corner, so you can throw that in front of that defender. So 2 quick adjustments. And then you have this dig over the top at 20 yards depth. So that's just, you're basically just labeling. The one streak route is just a clear out route for me, so that's all I'm really doing. So this is the other plays that we're going to take a look at out of the gun doubles Y off. And this kind of closes out the rest of this formation. I do want to point out there was a play that I would usually come out of the huddle, out of the tight Y off, and that's the red zone scissors. And there's a bunch of different ways. You can run this thing stock if you want to. you can go ahead and do the following adjustment. You can do a curl flat concept where the guys are inside and make your progressions and reads from there. You can leave this play stock if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that either. Or maybe do a little curl flat, curl concept right here. But what makes this play tick is this route right here. This running back route actually gets really, really crazy separation. So it gives you a nice little unique area against the coverages that you can hit, especially if you've got a good athletic running back. So it does carry a lot of these guys over to this side, where you've got basically kind of a drag concept and you got a dig concept. But once again, you can't force your routes. You got to make your progressions correctly. So you don't want to do what I just did. So that's why I kind of like having a concept like this off to the left. It kind of gives me an idea on a fast man progression where I can hit my opponent on both sides, and he's got to deal with basically a flat and the scissors concept off to the right side, and you've got this concept off to the left, which makes it really difficult for him to stop. So that's what I like about this particular play. So you still got your steam play that you're going to be able to hit your opponent against, and that's really, really cool. So once again, guys, thank you for your support. I'm going to go ahead and roll out some gameplay with this Rams playbook and also with the Cincinnati playbook. But I wanted to give you guys some of the stuff. There are so many great plays in Cincinnati. Cincinnati actually has a phenomenal selection of formations to choose from. So you can actually see some of the formations I've broken down for other playbooks that are actually you have access to in this playbook. So I had to literally just kind of limit myself on what was going to be available for me to break down, because there's just so much great stuff. So thank you for your support, guys. Until next time.